Hey, hi all. In this video, we will discuss about Apex security and sharing. As its name suggests, we will talk about the security and the sharing which we use in Apex, like how we can secure the data in Salesforce and how we can share the database in the best possible way so that it will not be exposed to other systems or which should not, or with the users whom the data should not be visible to. So let's start. So first, enforcing sharing rules. So as we know, Apex generally runs in system mode, and system mode does not uh, system mode does not respect the current users' permissions and field level security, as we are running it in the system context. And sharing rules are not always bypassed. If the class is declared with a keyword without sharing, then the sharing rules will be bypassed. But if the class is defined with sharing keyword, then the rules will not be bypassed and they will be enforced. And Apex developers must take care not to expose sensitive data that would normally be hidden from the users by user permission, field level security, or OWD, that is organization wide defaults. And developers should be very particular when they are developing web services, because measure of the time, if we are exposing some of the data which should not be there, which should not go in that particular request or to that third party, so at that time we have to be very specific about the details, which data they want and how they want. Most of the time, system context provides the correct behavior for system level operations such as trigger and web services. However, you can also specify that particular Apex class should enforce the sharing rules that apply to the current user. It means that we have to define the class with a keyword with sharing. So it will respect all the sharing rules for that particular user, and the class will run in the user mode, not in the system mode. Moving forward, we have enforcing object and field level permissions. So basically it means that we will check the object level and field level permission for that particular user. Apex doesn't enforce field level or object level by default. You can enforce these permissions in SOQL, which is Salesforce Object Query Language, by using with security enforced keyword in SOQL. You can also enforce object level and field level permission in your code by explicitly calling the subject describe result methods, that is schema.describe subject result, and the field describe results, that is schema.describe field result, that check the current user's access permission level. So it will just basically check the current user's access level permission on that particular field and on that object, and then only it will allow you to do some operations on that. In this way, we can verify if the current user has the necessary permissions to do the DML operations, or they have the permissions to query on that particular record. Moving ahead, you can call is accessible, is creatable, or is updatable methods of schema.describe a subject result to verify whether the current user has read, create, or update access on an a subject respectively. So what does it mean, like is accessible, is creatable, is updatable? As its name suggests, is accessible will check like if you have read access or if you have access on that particular record. Creatable means if you have access on that particular record or if you can create a record on that particular object. Is updatable, as its name suggests, if you can update that particular record on that particular object. So this is what we define on profile level, and through permission sets we grant the user access to that particular object and to the particular fields. Similarly, schema.describe field result exposes this access control methods that you can call to check the current user's read, create, or update access for the field. So one is describe subject result and one is describe field result. Subject result will check the object level permission. If a user has access, read access on account, if a user can create account, if a user can update account, then we on account we have name field. So describe field result will check the field level permission, like on an account object we have field name. So on name we can Can we read it? Okay, fine. It will be checked by accessible. Can we create or can we update that field? It will be checked by that creatable and updatable. In addition, you can call the is deletable method provided by describe as subject result to check if the current user has delete permission on that specific S object. So let's see some example for that, for the same. To check the field level update permission of the contacts email field before updating it. So if schema.subject type dot contact dot fields dot email is updatable. So here we are only checking for the specific field, that is email. So if email field is updatable and the particular user has that permission, then only it will come into that if loop or if that particular phase, and you can update that thing. To check field level create permission, you have to use email.isCreatable. And to check the read permission on that field, you have to just specify field dot is accessible. So it will check like if the field has access or if a user has access on that particular field, then only we can query that field. Otherwise, it will throw an error, or it will not go into if, it will go into else. To check the object level permission for contact before deleting the contact. So this can be a business use case also, because all the users cannot delete a particular contact or opportunity or account. So there should be a check. If you have that access, then only you can delete that. They will be a power users which can delete a particular record from the system. Enforce user mode for database operations. It's a beta. It's in the beta version. Database method supports an access level parameter that lets you run database operations in user mode instead of the default system mode. And to enhance the security context of Apex, you can specify user mode access for database operations. So it will respect all the sharing rules and all the set of access which a user has. Field level security and object permissions of the running user are respected in user mode, unlike in system mode. User mode always applies sharing rules. In system mode, they are controlled by class sharing keywords. So for an example, if we are running a trigger and we have a trigger handler class, so the trigger runs into system mode. If the trigger handler we have with sharing keyword in that particular class, then the particular trigger will run into the user mode because we have with sharing keyword, and it will respect all the sharing and all the user level access. You can indicate the mode of operation by using with user mode or with system mode in the SOQL query. So we have an example. List of account is equal to select ID from account with user mode. So it will check if that particular user has access on that particular account, then it will show that account. Database operations can specify user or system mode. This is an example. Inserts a new account in user mode. Account is equal to new account, name is test, insert as user ACC. So it will insert in the user mode. Filter SOQL queries using with security enforced. So if we are using with security enforced clause to enable field and object level security permissions checking for SOQL select queries in the Apex code. So there are two things, like in the SOQL we have select query, select ID, name from account. Then we have where clause, so to filter out our results. So if we are saying that select ID name from account where name equal to Acme, so it will check for all the records which are having the name Acme in that particular Salesforce, or without the consideration of that with security enforced, means like without the consideration like a particular user has access to it or not, but it will give us all the detail, all the result according to that where clause. But we will see only the results on which we have access, or on only the records on which we have access, because we have used with security enforced keyword. Security is enforced on what the SOQL statement, or sorry, SOQL select query returns, not on all the elements that go into running the query. That is where clause and order by or something like that. Insert the with security enforced clause after the where clause if one exists else after the from clause. before any order by, limit, offset, or aggregate function clauses. So we will just see the example. For example, if the user has field access for last name, this query returns ID and last name for the Acme account entry. As you can see in the example, we have list of account ACT1, then select ID, select last name from contacts, from account where name is like Acme with security info. So if we have access on last name, then it will return the ID and last name. Otherwise, it will throw an exception if the field or if the last name field is hidden. For an example, in the second one, we have if field access for either last name or description is hidden. This is a field usage, which we field usage attribute on a field level, which we can means like majorly it will be active. It can be a deprecated member or it can be a hidden. So if it is hidden in that particular field usage, then we will get that exception. So in the same manner, if we don't have access on a particular field, or if the particular field is hidden, we will get insufficient permissions. So if you get this type of error like insufficient permissions, or it throws an exception to you, so you have to just check the field usage on that particular field which you are querying. Then class security, you can specify which users can execute methods in a particular top level class based on their profile, user profile or permission sets. You can only set security on Apex classes, not on triggers. That's why it's the best practice. It's the best practice to have a trigger handler and multiple classes on a particular trigger. Trigger should be logicless. All the logic should be in the classes which are called from the trigger and the trigger event. To set Apex class security from a permission set, we have to just enable the classes, or we have to just select the particular classes from Apex class access, and then we have to just click the edit and then add that classes from available to selected. In the same way, on profile also we can define this thing in the same manner, Apex class security from profile, and then we'll hit the edit button and we will add the selected classes from available classes. Then the user will have access to that particular classes. Yeah, so that's all